You just got your asses whipped by a bunch of goddamn nerds. Nerds!
Welcome everyone back to Nerds Pod. That's Pete. That's Pooba. It's your boy Cole. Today we are going to review The Last of Us Season 2, Episode 6. And we got our boy back. Let's do a wonderful flashback of my man Joe in the house. Can we give a round of applause for Pedro coming back to the show? Oh my gosh, I didn't feel like I missed him until I saw him. This was great. And can I say the acting in this show is just phenomenal. A-listing all the way through. Let's get right into it. Puma, tell me what you thought about this flashback episode.
I think it was very cool. I mean, to see Joel back again in the business, to see him in that fatherly role. Shout out to all the fathers. Mother's Day is gone, so shout out to all the mothers. And now we move on to Father's Day. So show and prove, as we saw Joel do. Bars. And I enjoyed it. It was heartwarming. I was absolutely involved. It started off, of course, with the flashback to Joel and his brother, which I thought was phenomenal. I know that's not in the game, so the fact that HBO came up with showing kind of where Joe came from and his point of view as he was growing up, because he's always been the savior guy. He was trying to save his brother. He saved Ellie. He's trying to save Jackson. He's always trying to save, and his savior complex showing where it came from him protecting his brother from his father. So you get to tell who Joel is from season 1 up till now, due to the fact that we're able to see his history. I love the fact that we saw the watch again. That was dope to see, and how it was passed down. Man, I would love to get passed down some of the things that my dad had. So, and I enjoyed it. It really kind of reflects back and the things for me, how I did things, and how as they say, the sins of the father, in a sense, get passed down over generations. And you can see the pass down of generation about being a better father. I absolutely loved it. Ellie's arc, in the sense of how it came full circle. You were right. The coffee beans were there. They explained it. They did everything well with the storyline. I don't know if we'll get another flashback. I'm hoping we do, because it was really, really riveting to see.
Oh man, great take, my brother. Pete, tell me what you thought about this flashback episode.
You brought up the acting, and it was I agree, it was phenomenal. Like that, them talking on the porch was just wow. It was just really like, and again, we spoke about staying awake or having these episodes drag where there's not a lot of action. And I'll tell you one thing about me is 99% of the time, if I'm laying down in my bedroom, I'm falling asleep. No doubt about it. That was not the case. And it not even a little bit, nothing. It was just glued to the TV because it was that good. And you answered my question before I even answered it. That part wasn't in the game with his dad. And all of us as fathers, I guess, we try to, and that I think that applies to us as well. I think we're trying to do better than ours, and that hit home. That part with his dad, him trying to protect his brother. I thought he was gonna get it. I thought he was gonna get a backslap or something, but he didn't, and that was cool. I love that. I love that he didn't hit him, even though he said what his dad had done to him. And we finally find that and again, this could have been in the game, I don't know, but again, I'm watching this all fresh. But I finally found out why she was so cold to him at the beginning of the season. And I like the fact that it was a flashback, but they covered it. They kind of, all those loose ends, for me anyway, they tied that up. And phenomenal, that's an episode. And one more thing real quick, you look at people's comments online, they're talking about it's woke, it's this, it's that, and they're not fans of it. You know what? You're missing out because you're letting your judgment get clouded for nonsense. Why don't you just sit back and unplug and watch a great story instead of worrying about it being woke and trying to, insult an actress who I think is doing a phenomenal job. So all the way, I don't know if you guys have ever seen that meme with Martin Scorsese that he's going like this and he says cinema.
Mm-hmm.
That's what this was, man. This was great.
And very good take. Very good take. I'll just say this for those that are saying that the game is and the show is pretty much mimicking each other. So if you felt like that about the game, then I can understand why you feel like that about the show. So they really never really changed too much or changed genders or race or anything like that. So, the game is like that regardless. You're gonna have these lesbian scenes, you're gonna have all this other stuff, the drugs, everything. So again, it's mimicking exactly what the game is. So if you guys can just like Pete said, just check it out with an open mind and try to like focus more on just the story and not all the noise that's being told around. So our brothers right here were talking about the beginning. The beginning threw me off a little bit because, like Puva said, it's not part of the game. So I'm like, I don't get this. Why are we in Austin, Texas in 1988? But then I find out, that's Joel in a younger age, and his father's being played by the swordsman himself.
Yeah.
The mustache is back, fellas.
Duquesne.
Yes. Yes. When I saw that, again, brilliant acting. I was like, they got him to play the father. This is awesome, man. I'm loving this.
The first thing I said is, Punisher let him out.
That's a good one. That is a good one. So I'll be honest. After that first scene, it cuts into the intro, and I'm like, all right, I have no clue what this is about, but hopefully you'll explain it later. And then I got to find out later on that, yes, it is Joel at a younger age showing, like Puba was saying, his heroism and always want to save. Yet this show is constantly making me flip back and forth, liking a person, not liking this person. Decisions you're making in this show just shows that there's always consequences behind that. And so we get to see the opening montage. And this time, since Joel's in it, they put the two walking at the end, which I thought was pretty cool. I was like, damn, they're really sticking to the script. This is wonderful. So now we get to see Ellie and Joel happy, actually living their lives. He went to get her something for her birthday, and then they go through different birthdays. Puba, tell me, how do you feel seeing Joel and Ellie actually just getting along?
To see them at the peak of their relationship during the visit to the, I want to say Science Museum, and to see it at that peak and to see just as as we're all dads here. So just to see a dad go all out, and I mean all out. This man was visiting the museum and oiling the machines.
That was cool.
Trying to get it back to work, and he kind of plugged it in, and he said that what hit me the most is when he said, did I do good? And she was like, are you kidding me? Like, man. And even when I first saw the intro with the two stalks that kind of grew out, I'm like, HBO, Naughty Dog, you can stop playing with my emotions. Stop playing with my emotions, because you're making me all happy, and I know how this all ends. So it was great to see, the evolution, the Eli cake, yes. that made me laugh, and just to see the barter system as well inside Jackson, the Legos for the cake and the other stuff.
I hope the cake tastes better than the way he can spell. That was funny.
He's probably a great baker, but a horrible speller. It was just taking it through the years. It seems like her birthday, I think, is in March because of the way they were rotating it and things of that nature. But
I thought the same thing, yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to do the math because it was like 9 months later, a year later, and I was like, okay, that's all right. That all right. I'm trying to do the math behind it, but I think her birthday. So she's a Pisces. Shout out to all the Pisces out there. But it was just great to see, and it's the relationship we always wanted. When we started this show, when we played the game, it's the relationship we always wanted. I'm not going to get into the fault when the immediate split. We was there during their relationship in those year montages, but it was phenomenal to see. I know that she loves space and she loves Odyssey to give her what he did. Listen, the most satisfying thing for me was when she took the rock and broke the glass. I'm like, oh, that must feel really good. And I know they have centers and things of that nature where you can just go break stuff. But to do it there, to grab the helmet that she wanted, God, like what would you have to do to get a copy of the launch of the exact same capsule they were in?
Apollo 15.
Yeah. So, just to go all out there, like, whoa. Kudos. Father of the Year, Joel. Father of the Year.
Well, I'll say this. The Apollo 15 scene was spot on. I mean, even from the lighting, everything, the words, when Ellie was walking in with Joel and she's trying to figure out what's the surprise. That's in the game, as well as they did it exactly the same way here. It was the dinosaur as well. In the game, you could climb the T-Rex if you want. But Pete, I really want to know, same question. How do you feel about seeing Ellie and Joe at the peak of their peace and love?
Well, for me, it was needed because again, I was so like, I was bugging, and why was she being so mean to him at the beginning? And then of course he was killed in the second episode, so never got any reasoning as to why. But like that's why I said this episode cinema, because it tied up those loose ends for me because I didn't know, and now it was just like, okay, I get it now, but it just made that episode that much better. Again, we haven't seen him in what, 4 episodes, and we see why this guy is in such demand right now. He's just like, he's awesome. Every role he's had lately, he's killed it. And this is another one. And it's just like that again, it tied up all the loose ends for me. And seeing them together, and again, not what we saw at the beginning of the season. This was more refreshing to see them like this. Even though it took a turn, and I'm sure we're going to get into that, but definitely overall episode, again, it was a flashback, brilliant, going to like her last couple of birthdays, and the guitar, the field trip to the space museum. It was just great all around. Loved it. Loved the episode.
The way Joel was just going all out for her, right? You can just see the poor love from them.
I don't want to speak. I can't speak for everybody, but one of the best feelings is knowing you nailed a gift for somebody where they absolutely loved it. And I think that's what you could tell on his face that's what he was going for. That's why he was like, oh, Eli on the freaking cake.
Did you see his tears, Pete, when he was asking her? He was so happy that he was crying.
He got it. Yeah, he got it. I get it. So that's why I guess, I was so engaged in this episode because of Joel just trying to get it right, and then
I'm getting emotional just talking about it. I'm like,
no, it was just absolutely amazing. He got the bone to make the guitar for her, also as a gift. Bone saws ready. I don't know why that came to my head when I saw him chopping the bone. Also, when they're at when Ellie goes, oh my gosh, it is a dinosaur. You like it? I like it. And he's like, yep, like it. Yep, like it. Like, I love the way Pedro holds his emotions. You can tell he's super happy and excited, but he still keeps some sort of composure, playing the character just so damn well. So now things are getting a little. Now we got Ellie growing up as birthdays keep passing on. She is becoming an adolescent and to a young adult. Uber, talk to me about that scene when Joel came in and found her getting a tattoo. And
Well,
did you
it was
feel? I want to let me just add to that. And did you feel Joe handled it well?
horribly well. No, he handled that horribly. It goes back to conservative thinking in a sense, right? And the best scene out of that was all this teenage shit all at once, like everything all at once, drugs. Again, in his head, experimenting
Tattoo,
with sex and a tattoo,
yeah.
like everything at once, like one shotgun, boom. Like he just didn't know. Again, and it goes back to their conversation when he was asking her about Jesse. He goes, I'm good with this. He goes, you're definitely not keen on this one.
That's funny.
Where she's into girls or and women at this point, and
You
and
could tell
he's
how
trying to
clueless.
justify it. She's 17, and she's like, I'm
Yeah.
19. Like
And that pissed him off.
even more.
Get out. He said, "Get
Get
out."
out. Listen, it's I'm taking a father's perspective on this, right? And I think there's a point where me as a father, I want to understand where all of this is coming from, especially the 3-for-1, which is another 4-for-1 because now she wanted to live by herself because now she wants to be out. So it's a lot to take in, but for me, I would want to understand the situation to give the best advice possible because that is a turning point. Like it's her birthday, and then you just turn this into something ugly and nasty because of, again, a conservative way of thinking. I mean, the world's coming to an end. People should be able to live how they want to live, as good as they want to live it. I mean, those days are counted in this type of environment. So if someone wants to experiment and do things, knock it out. But I think on this end, it's just a way of thinking. I think in his head, he saw his daughter. He didn't see Ellie.
Right.
And that's the part that kind of messed him up and got him angry instead of talking and understanding. And he reverted back. When he finally kind of got a chance to go back at it, he looked at the tattoo. He complimented the tattoo. Down the road, he actually, when he said that Dina would be lucky to have you, he completely understood afterwards. But the first reaction was anger, which probably wasn't the right approach for someone who's growing into this it's so fast. And it was like, slow down. I want you to be a little girl. You're only 17 years old. You don't have to rush this. And I know what he's going through, but his approach was pretty bad.
So now we get in the downfall of their relationship as we starting to see. But Joel is trying to make it up to her. He's really trying to understand because, as we all know, he doesn't want to lose her. Pete, he ends up taking Ellie out on patrol, and they run into Eugene, which we find out is the husband of the psychiatrist. Now, like you were saying, all this flashback episode plugged in a lot of holes. Give me your take on that whole entire scene from them bumping into Eugene and how everything went through all the way to when Ellie says those famous words, "You swore."
So again, this episode just kind of like put everything together for me, and in one of the earlier episodes, I asked the doctor in the hospital, was that the psychiatrist's husband? Remember, I didn't really know. So I asked you, I was like, is that her? And then now we get this. Now I know what happened to her husband and how he killed him, why he killed him. But he had an opportunity to give him a chance. He was begging to see his wife one last time, which I was just like, oh my God, this is too much, yo. Like,
It's rough.
Ellie was
yeah.
gonna let him. Ellie kind of, was fighting for him to get that last interaction with his wife.
That wish, right?
Yeah.
That last wish.
Yeah,
Put your
exactly.
hand out. Count to 10. Like, okay.
But Joel was, strictly by the book and was like, and that he let him see that beautiful scene, the beautiful scenery they were at, but that was it. He wasn't gonna go against protocol and take him back to Jackson because again, you do it for one, you got to do it for everybody. And you see he's just about trying to keep everybody safe, like we were just discussing. He's trying to save everybody. His daughter, his brother, Ellie. He's just that's I guess that's the father in him. But yeah, it sucked the way it happened. And again, I kind of went back on what at first I was in favor of what he did in the hospital. But then I kind of backtracked when Nora, right? She was just like, "You're her. We could have got a cure from you." But yeah, it was. This is where it took a turn because Joe went back on his word.
You think Joe could have done it differently and maybe told Ellie, "Yo, go get the wife, go get the psychiatrist. You stay, Eugene. You stay here. I can't take you back to Jackson. You stay
that's a
here."
good one, yeah.
Right? And not Joe wasn't even thinking of that. He wanted to execute him like right away.
I don't think they had the time. I don't think they had the time to do 2 trips because you're doing 1 trip to Jackson, another trip back. He was asking for the 1 trip.
Yeah, but we can't take you over there, right?
Yeah, but let me ask you guys both because you're both dads. You have your daughter with you. You have a guy that's asking to go see his wife, and you're gonna take the risk of a infected person to travel with your daughter about maybe say 30 minutes because they said he has an hour, right? So about 30 minutes travel. Do you take that infected person with you?
Yes.
Okay. Pete?
That's it. I was going to break it.
No. I'm gonna come back to the reason why, but I want to know Pete's answer.
Okay.
Well, you know what? The fact that he's lobbying to see his wife, it sucks. It wasn't like, oh, let me just go back for the hell of it. It's to see his wife, just to get his last words to her, to say goodbye to her. And I mean, I guess, thinking about it now, I guess I would just let him walk in front. You turn around and you turned, and that's it. We put in one in your head, and that's it. But that's the way I would handle it. Just keep him in front of us, just so we can't keep him behind you, but keep him in front of us just so we could just monitor him until we get there, and just have Joe had a gun on him the whole time, so just have that same approach on your way over there. But I would have taken him. He's in front. My daughter's behind me.
Go.
I would do it the same way that Pete said, except my daughter's in front of me. I'm behind her. She's immune. If she wasn't immune, it would have been a different story. She's immune with 2 guns.
You're gonna use your daughter as bait.
Not as bait. No,
I'm joking.
In the show, they say you got my front, I got your back, right? So I think with my daughter being immune, them having a pace, he could have been able to walk Eugene at least to the front gate, stay right here.
Yeah.
But Joe did not want to do any of that. Now the problem is that Ellie asked him, "Hey, you promised me? So Pooba, you tell me, after your daughter gives you that promise and you promise, how did you feel about Joe breaking that promise once again?"
I'm gonna get into it, but I'm gonna ask myself the question that I asked you guys. I would shoot him in the face. I would tell my daughter the truth. I wouldn't lie to her, and I would say he has to go. We're gonna risk 1 person versus 2,000 people that are with us. What if the rope breaks? What if something happens? What if you trip and fall and he bites your neck and then your jugular? You can't stop that. So I'm thinking of all those scenarios in my head. I would be honest. I would look at Ellie and go, Ellie, as much as it hurts me for him not to see Gail, he has to die right here. Your choice. You want me to do it or you do it yourself? And I'm gonna give you a knife.
And then with Ellie, like looking at the show, she was like, "Nah, don't worry about it, man. We're gonna take you and everything." But now, we're at that scene where the psychiatrist is hugging Joe, and Ellie outs him, and says, nah, he's a liar. This is what happened. What did you think about that whole scenario? And her saying,
Um,
you swore.
Getting backstabbed by a loved one, a family or nature, never feels good. And I don't think Pedro Pascal said a word to like Ellie, like shut up or anything like nature. He was such in shock that he got backstabbed by her. But it wasn't the promise that was made; it was the swear that was made at the end of episode 1, where he swore to her that that there are other people like her. He swore to her that that the cure thing isn't really a real thing or of that nature, right?
There
So
was a
when she
cool
said you
scene.
swore, yes, when she said you swore, she wasn't talking about Eugene's death, because she explained the look in his eyes, the look on his face, the same promise that he made and went backwards and lied, the same thing that he did when he swore that with the whole thing with the hospital. So when she said you swore, she already knew that he had lied about it, and that's what again, that's my take. Because if she would have said you promised, then yeah, that's a Eugene thing. The fact that she said you swore, she was talking about the hospital. Like, you lied to me about the hospital. That's how I saw it, because she didn't use the promise. There was such a big difference between promise and swearing it, and I think it was clear as day. I do think Ellie understood what had to happen, because that was going to happen regardless. But she's young. She doesn't have the full aspect of this grown adult that's seen more people die than Ellie has, and it's sad that when you try to do the right thing, but you do it with a lie, how it comes back to haunt you. Just tell the truth, people. You'll be all right. You'll be all right. People will live. But it's that lie and the straight face that he did it with. Is she remembered the look. And it's the same way when she was leaving the science museum. What stopped her was the fireflies. And the fireflies reminded her of the hospital. And that's where, we get this curiosity, because kids, when they grow up, they're curious. They want to ask and do different things. And she was just curious why we're still here and how we're still here from the hospital. But yeah, it was heartbreaking to see that happen. You're like, oh, did you really do that to your dad? Oh, but Ellie has nothing to lose at this point, because when the person that you love the most, which I think was Joel at the time, betrays your trust, then everything goes to hell. Which is why we see Ellie in these first episodes such a rebel, because Joel's not going to say nothing to her, because after what just happened, and who cares? And everything that Joel was doing was on the back end, like taking her off patrols and things of the nature, because he couldn't face her anymore. So it really dictates of how we see this relationship prior to the flashbacks and how it's so broken. And to see the moment that it broke, phenomenal writing. Kudos to them.
In my opinion, I think Ellie did the right thing. I think Joe dropped the ball once again, and this time it really caught up to him. He should have just either kept it real or took Eugene over there, or maybe even take my advice and try to grab his wife, because I remember Eugene looking and saying, I don't need a view, I need my wife. Oh, tell me what you need to say and I'll let her know. He's like, no, she needs to tell me something. Which for me, I was like, holy smokes, like, dude, give this guy a break, a chance. He's like really begging you for this. And then for him to now put up a front on the psychiatrist and then lie straight to her face that he offed himself, that he wasn't scared. Everything that Eugene was saying was the complete opposite of what Joel was describing. And I'm glad that Ellie called him out on it. And now he has to live with that. So props to her for that, because what's going to happen is now, as we walk, we're in the new year. So these flashbacks are giving us a point of view of Joel during that New Year's scene. Pete, break that down to me, and Tell me your thoughts about the whole New Year's Day scene and the porch scene as well.
Well, the New Year's Day, the New Year's Eve, when they were still in the, I guess, in the cabin where they were having the party where the kiss happened between Dina and Ellie. He was there sitting with his brother and his sister-in-law, and she kind of told him that he was needed. She gave him, some reassurance to Joel, because he looked beaten, and again, this is taking a toll on him. And then the scene happens where Seth I think Seth calls them lesbians, and as we know, Ellie didn't back down from that. She went right at Seth, and then that's when Joel intervened, and she let Joel have it, and that's when Joel went back to the house, and then they end up meeting on the porch, and it was able to, like I said again, kind of put the pieces together for this entire story and let me know what was going on, because I'm sure everybody else already knew who played the game. I didn't know. I didn't know what was going on. But the one thing I did, and Joel, to me, he's cold-blooded. He's cold-blooded in the fact that you saw what he did in the hospital. We got another example of what he did to Eugene. He's just cold-blooded. And again, I think it's a survival tactic, being that look at the times that we're in The Last of Us. Yeah, you want to live. I think maybe that's how you got to go about things. And having sympathy for Eugene, you don't know how that would have turned out. You don't know. And I get it. All of us were like, yeah, let him see his wife. But Joel was probably like, you know what? I can't jeopardize, like Puba said, everybody else by letting this one guy bend the rules. So I kind of going back and forth on that. But then the truth came out. And Ellie, they're talking on the porch, and Ellie was like, "Oh, that was my moment, and you took that away from me. That was my purpose, and you took that away from me." I didn't know. That was another question that was answered. If they would have operated on her, they were going to kill her. She was going to be choosing to die. I didn't know that, so that changes a lot. But I love the fact that he said, if I had a chance to do it again, I'd do the same exact thing.
And when he said that part, I said it exactly the same way. And then when she answered, I answered what he said, because I'll be afraid to lose you. Because I love you.
Because I love you.
Yeah, I love you. Yeah. I repeated, first time watching it, I repeated exactly what he said. I thought that was so cool.
Cinema. That's it.
One question for you guys. Do you think he went after Seth because he finds out that Seth was a cop and it reminded him of his dad?
I don't know. I didn't get that.
No.
So that
he went after Seth because of what
what he said
his sister.
yeah.
No. What Tommy's wife told him. That you're family, you're needed here. So then that gave him the battery in his back to be like, yeah, I am family. Wait a minute, you can't just do that. This is my partner.
He just kind of like, wasn't he talking to her about Dina, right? Or that was after. That was
afterward. That was on the porch. That was on the porch.
He still insulted her. He still insulted her. He called her lesbian in front of everybody. He stopped the party talking about this is a family thing. So he was sticking up for her, like what he's known to do this whole time that we've seen him. But on the porch was just wow. It was, and when he said it, I did Bob from La Bamba. You tell him, carnal.
Nice. Nice.
Like, you know what? I know he's wrong. And before I thought he was right, but him saying, yeah, I do it again because I don't want to lose you and I love you. I was like, you know what? He's sticking to it, man. And, she means that much to him, man. That porch scene was just crazy.
And again,
if they win an Emmy, it's going to be because of that scene.
Sheesh.
And again, that's why this show is so good, because it'll have you rooting for a character and then not rooting for them. I think Jesse's the only one that so far is immune to not rooting for Jesse. I think everybody wants to root for Jesse, but besides that, everyone else has like these decisions to make Pooba, I gotta get your take on this. Talk to me about that porch scene because it was big.
Huge. It was the clarifying question to a lot of the questions that we had as we walked through these episodes in season 2. From the question that we had earlier in episodes about the coffee, and I love that he said he had to do like something ridiculous just to get the coffee beans. He goes like, like it wasn't even worth it. But at the tail end of it, he probably paid a high price just to get some fresh coffee.
That was also
It was
verbatim to the game.
Um, it was emotional. Phenomenal job by HBO and the filming crew. I could be wrong on this, but I think that one of or the guy that directed the game directed this episode on the flashback. I hope I'm right on that one, but that's kind of where I read it somewhere where the director of The Last of Us, the game, directed this episode, which I would tell you direct season 3, 4, and 5, please. But it was, I mean, like gut-wrenching, heartwarming conversation, that super private conversation between daughter and dad. It's the same way the reason why we share this podcast, because we wanted to share some of our ideas and thoughts processes that no one was ever going to see if we never did this show as well. So, you take it in, and it's a private conversation because they're at the turmoil of their relationship. Like, if it doesn't work here, it won't work for the future. Ellie's moving to a different house. And it just shows, I mean, as much as we grew up and love Pedro Pascal as Joel, he's selfish. He is not the hero in this show. And I get it. We want to see Joel because the acting, Pedro Pascal and Ellie on camera, it's fireworks. And from my understanding as well, if you watch the post show that they do on this, the director said it when they were filming this, the whole crew was crying. They delivered. And, if you ever wanted to see something emotional, something that's going to grip you, just take the whole, zombie corset thing out of the view, and an honest conversation between father and daughter. Man, it's so beautiful to see. And to know that he died the next day after this is even more gut-wrenching for me, to know that this was their last conversation together. Because if you remember, we were questioning why the hell, if they were having issues, the next day Ellie said, I'm going on patrol with Joel.
Yeah.
Because they cleaned it up. And she wanted to learn how to forgive him. When she said that, she goes, I can't forgive you for this, but I want to learn how to. Like, damn, girl. Like, yeah, I'm a grown man. You got me crying here. It was, oh man. Like, if you ever had a broken relationship that you wanted mended and you saw this scene, man. And again, for me, it hits home on multiple levels. I'm actually getting emotional in saying this, but to have that conversation, to clean it up before something bad happens, zero regrets there. Zero. And this is why Ellie was able to move on, because could you imagine if they didn't have the conversation and then he died? Like, my God, Ellie would not be the Ellie we see today.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if she goes on a revenge tour if they don't mend that broken bridge. And they did it. In that one scene, they did it. They mended the broken bridge, and they took from us. These damn wolves have taken away from us what we could have had in season 6. But now we don't get that anymore because Joel's gone. But man, the way they cleaned it up, the way they put it together, the way they did it, it felt real. And like I said, Emmy Award to both of them on that scene alone.
Very, very powerful scene, I must say. Even Bella Ramsey, her tears are coming down, but she's keeping a strong face. And like Pooba said, it's just magic between these two. A lot of emotions are running high, yet these two actors are just staying in character and really just pouring out their hearts. And like Pooba said as well, the whole cast was crying. Here's a spoiler alert for everyone. Pedro will not be back. Joel will not be back. They are not doing no flashbacks no more, according to the writers, directors of HBO. That's it. That's the best. That's everything we get from Pedro. Pedro, thank you so much for doing this role. You nailed it, knocked it out the box. Baseball reference. You hit a home run with this one, and yeah, we thank you for that. Can't wait to see you in your next role. We all know what we're talking about there. So I would just like to conclude with this. I'll start with Pete. Pete, so what are your expectations on the season finale next week?
For me, one of the it's I've kind of favored the shorter seasons. I think we spoke about this on other episodes. Walking Dead kind of um, too long, 26 episodes, and I get it's more of the type of a series that we've kind of grown up on from I guess what September to April or whatever it is, and we're getting these type of series like Daredevil is 9 episodes and this is 7 episodes, and I to me it doesn't feel rushed. It feels like it's just everything that you're in. There's no fluff. There's no filler here. It's just straight like this would I guess some people would consider this a filler episode, but it wasn't because it kind of tied everything together, like I said a couple times on this episode. But I cannot wait. And this is not just the standard, oh, I can't wait till the weekend. I can't wait till Sunday because I want to see the finale. Like, I want to see what's going on. We want to see what happens. They're still in Seattle. She went back to the theater. So we're gonna see what happened with Dina and Jesse and the Arrow and then the Wolves. I just cannot wait. This was just well done all around. 1 through 6 and 7 to me seems like it's gonna be the cherry on top.
So
And
am I.
Tommy's there. And Tommy's there
That's right.
somewhere.
You're absolutely right.
That's right. Tommy
I haven't
should
seen
be
Tommy in
there.
like how many episodes?
He was in this episode.
No, I know that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Tommy's hanging out with Daredevil in the costume. They're not coming out.
Or Foggy. He's like Foggy.
Yeah.
Well, Pooh and I, we know more or less about the video games and how it's tied in so well to this. So, Pooh, without giving too many spoilers, what do you want to see covered in the season finale?
I've cashed out. This is where I kind of left the game. So I don't know what to expect. I'm on what I'm gonna call my Pete mode. I'm on Pete mode right now. I'm just gonna watch it, enjoy it, not overthink it. Allow The Last of Us to come to me versus me trying to figure everything out and how they're trying to do it. So I'm going to let the episode come to me. I'm hoping that they're ending the season with Abby and Ellie in front of each other. I'm hoping that happens. I don't want nothing to pop off because I want a season 3. And I want to make sure that that I'm there for it. Like, that's all I want to be right now. All I want to be is here for it. I am so excited to see how this is done. Storytelling is great. Writing is great. It's the first show that I've ever seen when there was something already pre-made that didn't overthink it. Like, this show was never overthought. And it's because the directors of these shows were fans of the game. If they weren't fan, like, it's near and dear to heart. Like, we talked about the Joel episode with Ellie on the porch, but the director went up to them. So this means a lot to me. I need you guys to deliver on this. So just to kind of show that the passion that's behind it, that's all I want to see. Had the directors not overthink it, be passionate about the show because we're all invested, and stop playing with my heart with the things growing from the ground. Just give me one. Don't give me Joel back. I'm happy. Like, I got my fulfillment. I'm good to go. Let's see Ellie rock out. I want to see another horde. I want to see another craziness. Maybe in the last episode, I want to see something that's absolute, like, oh my gosh, there's no way that she's gonna get out of it. But I don't want a Glenn underneath the garbage can scene. Please don't do that. But give me something that's going to, don't give me that. But give me something that's going to make sense, that will leave me on a cliffhanger, that will have me renew my subscription to HBO. I'll leave it at that.
Can I say one thing, Cole? One more thing?
Go for it.
So Puba's Puba touched on the fact that the director was a fan. You said it was a fan of the game.
Yeah.
So big fans of God of War. I know I'm so take this game out and put God of War in. My role reversed because I played them all and I passed them all and I know pretty much. But the rumor is God of War is supposed to be coming to Amazon Prime, a live. So, but what I did read was the person they chose for the director was, wow, I never really played the game. Massive mistake if that's the route they're going. Just based off what Puba said, that the guy was like, yo, this means a lot to me. You're not gonna get that same type of output if you got someone who doesn't understand the character or never played the game. So just wanted to touch on that what Puba said because that's big to me anyway.
That makes a difference. That makes a huge
a big
difference.
difference, and I hope that's not the case, but we'll see what happens in the future. But I just want to, based on what Puba said about the director and his connection with the game, there's another game that maybe, who knows when that's coming out, but that's
I'll
what
give
I
you another conversion that sucked butt, and I'll never forgive Night Shyamalan for this. But The Last Airbender, he did a movie, and it is probably the worst movie I've ever seen, or worst interpretation. And he did the movie because his kids were a fan, not that he was a fan. He did the movie because his kids were a fan. Cole, you and I both spoke about this real quickly. Horribly done. And then the new people that did it on Netflix nailed it out the box.
Mhm.
Like, they killed it. So same thing. I agree with you, Pete. It's the direction matters.
Yes.
In most things in life, direction matters more when it comes from the heart, not from the head. Because all we're gonna get in to your point of God of War, all we're gonna get is an interpretation, not God of War.
Sorry about that, fams. Go ahead.
Nah, you're good. Well, good takes on all this. Listen, I played the game, The Last of Us 2, passed it and everything. There's a lot of story left. A lot of story left. So I wouldn't be surprised if they go to a season 3, maybe even a season 4, or even 5. Like, there is so much story left given onto this video game, and a lot of twists and turns, and they keep you on the edge with all these characters. So I'm hoping for a wonderful finale. I'm with Puba on this. I would like to see Ellie at least find Abby, because once you guys get to see what happens between Ellie and Abby, I can't wait to hear what you guys think about it. I'm talking about everyone. So please subscribe, like, and comment. Let us know if you want us to cover anything. We'll try our best. That's Puba. That's Pete. I'm Cole. And thanks again for watching an episode of the Nerds Pod.
Support your video games.
Cinema. We will return.
The worst episode ever.